Quilting makes the quilt. This is a title I borrowed from a really great book that I came across many years ago, which had that as its title. I'm not sure if it's still available or not, but the concept was that it took the same quilt and quilted it in 6 different ways. And it just was such a revelation for me to show me just how differently a quilt will look with different quilting designs. Now, most of us don't get that opportunity, and most of us wouldn't want to make the same quilt 6 times and then quilt it up slightly differently. But I thought I would take the opportunity of that concept and share with you a couple of identical quilts and just talk through the different quilting options that have been done with the quilts that are in front of me. The two quilts on the top are in fact a very simple Thangles pattern that we made up at Creative Quilting as a block of the month. And we took them to Compton Quilters, who are a firm of long arm quilting people, Isabel and her husband, and they do long arm quilting. And the difference is to showcase the one here under my left hand is what is called wall to wall or edge to edge quilting. So it's a continuous design which takes no account of the start and stop of the block pattern. And the one here under my right hand is custom quilted. That means that the designs were created to fit the various blocks. We've also got a sashing option and we've got a border option. So all of these were done individually. I have to be honest and say I'm not sure if this one was computerized here for the blocks, but I know that the borders Isabel does by hand. She just moves the machine herself, and this one may or may not have been pantographed. I don't know. But certainly the one here under my right hand in the pastel colors are a format that you could do at home because it contains the free motion quilting within the block and then the sashing. If we take these off, then we've got the 2 quilts that I made for the website. They were our first block of the month. We didn't video the parts, we just did the instructions for you, and it's still available as a pattern. But it's a 9-block quilt, which we used the Fusions fabrics, which come in through Anbo Textiles. And I had the Running Chicken custom quilt these for me. I didn't have the time to do it, and I thought it would be nice for her just to have a free rein. I didn't give her any instructions other than to say, please quilt them differently. So the one on the top here has been quilted again as a custom quilt. She has contained the quilting designs within the block. She has quilted in the ditch on the sashing, and then here on the borders, then she has echo quilted. Again, these are all very achievable by you on your domestic machine. She's used contrast thread because she wants to showcase her stitching. If you don't want to see the stitching, use a toning thread. And the one underneath, which is actually my favorite, which is why it's going to stay there, was in different colors, identical quilt to the one we just saw. And here she has custom quilted, but with a feather, continuous feather pattern. She didn't know, but that's actually one of my favorites. She's done the most delightful feather pattern in the corner here. And then she's used the pattern in the border, which is a variation on piano keys here on the border. And she's just done an easy loop. Now again, this is one that you can do at home and you can practice. They are all free motion quilted, so none of it is done with the walking foot. But one of the things you're going to ask or might need to know is how do you get the design onto the quilt? If you're really clever, you can eyeball this, which is what she's done. This is something that you can also eyeball just by it's a continuous design, as you can see. But this, I think I would certainly need to draw. You can decide, you've got various sources of inspiration for your quilting motifs. You can pick up something like this, which has got over 100 different patterns, and you can see they come as different sizes. You could take this to the photocopier and enlarge the size for you if it wasn't quite the right block. You've got, this is called Irish cable, you've got floating lily, and so on and so on. You can buy these commercially made patterns too, called Stitch Through. They are in with this kind of made by Easy International. You can see how this is the bit that I've got left with. It comes pre-printed on this sort of rigid, grease-proof type. Whoops. Supposed to be cut here, not down on the fold, but that's all right. You just cut them apart and you pin them into place, stitch through the dotted lines. Being slightly mean, as it were, I tend to translate that design in the same way that I do these, so that I've still got a master copy. Some of the other copies, patterns that we've got on here, this would fit a block really quite nicely. This is a continuous block pattern, and you can see it marks the center for you. It shows you where to free motion stitch. So this is a nice continuous design. You do all the outside and inside. And if you thought you'd get a little lost, then obviously you could put some little numbers on here just to keep you in place. But this would fit on here really quite nicely and would be a pattern that is superimposed on your patchwork squares without taking any reference at all to the individual pieces of your block. And then we've got another one, similar sort of idea, but for a border. This one has, as was the cable border, this has really a rather pretty fleur-de-lis style border, which again you could pin on. If you're going to do borders, have a think. Somewhere in the pattern will be the corners. You do need to think about the corners. If you haven't got a stop like this, the pattern needs to look nice on the corner. That's what you'll spot. And you can stretch or reduce the pattern halfway down the side without you even noticing it. And finally, this is there is another kind of option that you can buy, similar sort of idea, but this company prints them in these are borders on a roll, I think they're called. Quilting Maze Easy company. We've got a lovely big continuous star, which I'm absolutely useless at. But interestingly enough, this star is done in two pieces. You come round the solid lines first, and then you come back to do the dotted lines. And in that way, you create the star. They have a sticky bit that you just peel off and stick into your borders. If you use this kind of format, just let me pre-warn you, do not make the mistake of stitching into the sticky bit. The stickiness gets hung up on your needle and will destroy your stitching. So how would you transfer this onto your quilt once you've layered it up? Well, the only way really is to transfer it onto something like this, which is, if I can find the beginning of it, it's Quilt on a Roll, and here it is. You can see you just lay it on your pattern and you would draw your pattern. So it works in the same way as the commercial versions that I've just shown you. You would mark up your quilting design onto your piece of quilt and tear, place it on top of your block here with a lot of pins, and then stitch through. Now the trick is, of course, if you've got loops, to make the loops nice. Don't get right angle ends to your loops, just get them nice, and when you tear the paper off, you'll never know whether you hit the lines or not. So I hope you'll give some thought to having nice quilting designs, not just using your walking foot, because there are all sorts of opportunities and patterns out there, and you can download them off the internet. There is an endless source of free designs. So have a go.